The gunshot echoed through Silver Creek as Olivia Fletcher dropped to her knees beside her husband's body, her scream piercing the dusty air of the Colorado Territory in 1871. The banker who had moments ago demanded payment on their overdue loan holstered his weapon with cold indifference, tipping his hat to the growing crowd before walking away, leaving Olivia a widow at 26. "Someone fetch Dr. Miller," a bystander called, but Olivia knew it was too late. Jonathan Fletcher's blood had already soaked into the dry earth, his unseeing eyes staring at the cloudless blue sky. 2 months later, Olivia sat alone in the small cabin she and Jonathan had called home for the 3 years of their marriage. The town of Silver Creek had been kind enough in the days following his death, bringing food, offering condolences, helping with the burial, but their charity had quickly run dry. Now she faced eviction, the bank still demanding payment despite her husband's death. Mrs. Fletcher. A knock at the door startled her from her thoughts. "It's Sheriff Thompson." She opened the door to find the aging lawman standing awkwardly on her porch, hat in hand. "Sheriff," she acknowledged, her voice flat. "Madam, I hate to be the bearer of more bad news, but Mr. Holloway from the bank says you've got 1 more week before they take possession of the property." Olivia nodded, having expected this. "Thank you for telling me yourself instead of sending one of his men." The sheriff shifted uncomfortably. "There's something else. The mercantile is looking for help. Nothing fancy, just minding the store, keeping inventory. It ain't much pay, but it might help you get back on your feet." Hope flickered briefly in Olivia's chest. "I'll speak with Mr. Wilson tomorrow." After the sheriff left, Olivia surveyed the small cabin that had once felt like a promise of future happiness. Now it just felt empty. With resignation, she began to sort through Jonathan's few possessions, preparing to leave the only home she'd known since coming west from Boston. As she moved Jonathan's old trunk, her foot caught on a loose floorboard near the hearth. Kneeling down, she noticed the board wasn't just loose, it appeared to have been deliberately cut and made removable. Curiosity overcoming her grief momentarily, Olivia pried up the board to find a small space beneath containing a wooden box. The box was simple pine, no lock, with Jonathan's initials carved crudely into the top. Inside were dozens of folded paper's letters, she realized. Letters written in her husband's neat, precise handwriting, but they weren't addressed to her or anyone she knew. They were addressed to "My dearest love" and signed simply J. Olivia's hands trembled as she unfolded the first letter, dated 2 years before she'd even met Jonathan. "My dearest love, another day passes without the courage to speak what is in my heart. I watched you at the general store today, the way the sunlight caught in your hair as you selected ribbons. I imagined those ribbons woven through your hair on our wedding day, but such dreams remain locked within these pages. Will I ever find the strength to give these words voice? Forever yours, J." Stunned, Olivia read letter after letter, years of correspondence that had never been sent, passionate declarations of love that had never been spoken. Some were philosophical musings on the nature of love. Others were detailed observations of daily life in Silver Creek, but all were infused with a depth of feeling she had never witnessed from her quiet, reserved husband. The next morning, Olivia made her way to Wilson's Mercantile, the store where she'd first met Jonathan when she arrived in Silver Creek. Mr. Wilson, a balding man with spectacles perched on his nose, greeted her warmly. "Mrs. Fletcher, Sheriff Thompson mentioned you might be coming by." "I'm terribly sorry about Jonathan. He was a good man." "Thank you," Olivia replied automatically, the phrase having lost meaning after hearing it so many times. "I understand you're looking for help in the store." "Yes, indeed. Nothing complicated, mind you. Stocking shelves, keeping inventory, minding the register when I take lunch. 6 days a week, 8 till 5. "That would be perfect, Mr. Wilson. I need to find new lodging soon as the bank is taking my home next week." Wilson's face fell. "Ah, yes, unfortunate business that. Actually, there's a small room above the store. It's nothing fancy, just a bed and a bureau, but you're welcome to it as part of your wages." Relief washed over Olivia. "That's very generous. When can I start?" "Tomorrow, if you're able. I'll show you the room now if you'd like." The room was indeed small, with sloped ceilings and a single window overlooking the main street, but it was clean and would serve her needs. As Olivia descended the narrow staircase back to the store, she noticed a tall, broad-shouldered man examining the tools display. "Ah, Mr. O'Malley." Wilson called out. "Just the man I wanted to see. That lumber you ordered came in yesterday." The man turned, and Olivia was struck by his appearance. He wasn't handsome in the conventional sense. His nose had clearly been broken at least once, and a scar ran along his jaw, but there was something arresting about his deep-set eyes and the way he carried himself. "Mrs. Fletcher, this is Ethan O'Malley. He's building the new schoolhouse out on the west end of town. Ethan, this is Mrs. Olivia Fletcher. She'll be helping me in the store starting tomorrow." Ethan O'Malley nodded politely, his expression unreadable. "Madam," he said simply, his voice deeper than she expected. "Mr. O'Malley," she replied with equal brevity. Wilson filled the awkward silence. "Ethan here is the finest carpenter in 3 counties, though you'd never hear him say so himself. Man of few words, our Ethan." O'Malley's expression tightened almost imperceptibly. "The lumber, Wilson." Right. "It's out back, I'll show you." As the men walked away, Olivia found herself staring after O'Malley, curious about the carpenter despite herself. There was something in his taciturn manner that reminded her of Jonathan. Over the next week, as Olivia settled into her new role at the Mercantile and the small room above it, she continued reading through Jonathan's letters in the evenings. The more she read, the more she realized she'd never truly known her husband. The passionate, eloquent man in these pages bore little resemblance to the quiet, practical man she'd married. One letter in particular caught her attention. "My dearest love, I saw O'Malley in town today." The man barely speaks 2 words together, yet somehow he's acquired a reputation as the finest craftsman in the territory. "I envy him his work, the way his hands create beauty from raw wood, the way he loses himself in his craft. Perhaps if I had such a talent, I might find the courage to approach you. Instead, I build these castles of words, structures that exist only on paper and in my mind. Forever yours, J." Olivia reread the passage, surprised by the mention of O'Malley. Had Jonathan known the carpenter? And more importantly, who was the unnamed recipient of these heartfelt declarations? Her opportunity to learn more about O'Malley came the following day when he returned to the store for more supplies. Olivia was alone behind the counter when he entered, Wilson having gone to the bank. "Good morning, Mr. O'Malley," she greeted him. He nodded in acknowledgement. "Mrs. Fletcher, I need nails, 3 pounds of 10 penny. As Olivia measured out the nails, she gathered her courage. "Did you know my husband, Mr. O'Malley, Jonathan Fletcher?" O'Malley's expression remained impassive. "Not well. He did the books for the mill where I get my lumber. He mentioned you in his." She hesitated, not wanting to reveal the letters. "In his journal." A flicker of surprise crossed O'Malley's face. "Did he?" He admired your craftsmanship. O'Malley's eyes narrowed slightly, as if searching for a hidden meaning in her words. Fletcher was a fair man, honest in his dealings. He placed coins on the counter. "That should cover it." As he turned to leave, Olivia called after him, "Would you like to see some of his writing?" "About your work, I mean." O'Malley stopped, his back still to her. After a long moment, he said, "I finish at the schoolhouse at sundown." That evening, Olivia brought a lamp and the letter mentioning O'Malley to the partially constructed schoolhouse on the edge of town. She found him planing a piece of wood, his movements rhythmic and precise. "Mr. O'Malley," she called softly, not wanting to startle him. He looked up, setting aside his tool. "Mrs. Fletcher." Olivia stepped into the building, admiring the clean lines and sturdy construction. "This is beautiful work." O'Malley made a non-committal sound, but she could tell he was pleased by the compliment. He gestured to a bench along one wall, and they sat, a respectful distance between them. Olivia handed him the letter. "I found these after Jonathan died. There are dozens of them, hidden beneath our floorboards." O'Malley read in silence, his expression unchanging. When he finished, he handed the letter back. "Your husband had a way with words. He never showed this side of himself to me," Olivia admitted. "Reading these letters, it's like discovering I was married to a stranger." O'Malley considered this. "Some men find it easier to express themselves on paper than in person." Are you one of those men, Mr. O'Malley? A ghost of a smile touched his lips. I express myself through my work, Mrs. Fletcher. Wood doesn't require conversation. And what does your work say about you? He looked around at the half-built schoolhouse. That I believe in building things that last. The simplicity and honesty of his answer touched her. Would you tell me about him, Jonathan? It seems everyone in town knew a different side of him than I did. O'Malley was quiet for so long that Olivia thought he might refuse. Finally, he spoke. He came to the mill every month to do the accounts, always precise, always fair. The other men found him strange, too educated, too formal. They called him the professor behind his back. He paused. Once I found him writing during his lunch. He closed his book quickly when he saw me, like a man hiding something precious. These letters, Olivia said softly. I don't know who they were meant for. He never sent them. Perhaps the writing was enough for him. As Olivia walked back to her room above the mercantile, she pondered O'Malley's words. Had Jonathan found satisfaction merely in expressing his feelings, never intending to share them? Or had fear held him back from revealing his true self, even to his wife? Over the next few weeks, Olivia fell into a routine. Days at the mercantile, evenings reading Jonathan's letters, and occasional visits to the schoolhouse to watch O'Malley work. She found his silent focus soothing, and he seemed to accept her presence without question. The town, however, had begun to talk. Widow Fletcher's spending an awful lot of time with that O'Malley fellow. Olivia overheard Mrs. Perkins tell Mrs. Davis as they browsed the fabric section. Hardly seemly, her husband not even cold in the ground. Well, what do you expect from an Easterner? Mrs. Davis replied. Besides, it's not like O'Malley's going to court her proper. Man's a confirmed bachelor if ever there was one. 35 years old and never shown interest in a single woman in town. Some say he's simple, Mrs. Perkins whispered. Slow in the head, you know, that's why he hardly speaks. Olivia's cheeks burned with indignation, but she kept her composure, approaching the women with a forced smile. Can I help you ladies find anything today? The gossip didn't stop there. By the following Sunday, Olivia could feel the stares as she took her seat in church, the whispers barely concealed behind hymn books and fans. Even Reverend Hughes seemed to direct his sermon on widow's propriety specifically at her. After the service, as Olivia hurried away to avoid the judgmental gazes, Sheriff Thompson fell into step beside her. Don't let them bother you, he said kindly. Small towns run on gossip like locomotives run on coal. I've done nothing improper, Olivia said firmly. I know that, and deep down they do too. They just don't understand O'Malley, never have. Man keeps to himself, doesn't participate in town socials or politics, makes folks suspicious. Why? Because he prefers solitude, the sheriff shrugged. That and the fact he turned down Abigail Peterson, the banker's daughter, about 5 years back. Pretty girl, good family. When he showed no interest, people started talking, said he must be lacking in natural feelings. Olivia thought of the quiet carpenter, his careful movements, his thoughtful words. They're wrong about him. Maybe so, Thompson conceded. Just be careful, Mrs. Fletcher. People can be cruel when they don't understand something or someone. That evening, Olivia brought another of Jonathan's letters to the schoolhouse. The building was taking shape now, the roof completed and the walls nearly finished. She found O'Malley inside, working by lantern light despite the late hour. You shouldn't be here, he said without looking up from his work. People are talking. Let them talk, Olivia replied, sitting on her usual bench. I've brought another letter. O'Malley set down his hammer. I don't need to hear your husband's private thoughts. I think you do. I think he wanted someone to read them. She unfolded the paper and began to read aloud. My dearest love, today I watched O'Malley refuse an invitation to the harvest dance. Miss Peterson looked quite put out while the town busybodies clucked their disapproval. They call him cold, unfeeling, even simple-minded. How wrong they are. I recognize in him what I see in myself, a man who feels too deeply to express it casually, who guards his heart as a miser guards his gold. We are brothers in our silence, he and I, though he has found purpose in his craft while I hide behind ledgers and numbers. Forever yours, Jay. O'Malley's face remained impassive, but Olivia noticed his hands had tightened on his tools. Your husband had an active imagination, did he? I think he saw you clearly. And what do you see, Mrs. Fletcher? I see a man who, like my husband, has depths others can't fathom. The difference is you've made peace with the town's misunderstanding. Jonathan never did. O'Malley stood abruptly. It's getting late. I should walk you back. They walked in silence through the quiet streets of Silver Creek, the summer night warm around them. When they reached the Mercantile, O'Malley paused. I never cared what people thought of me, he said finally. My father taught me to judge a man by his work, not his words. The schoolhouse will stand for 50 years. That's my legacy. I don't need more. Is that enough? Olivia asked softly. To be remembered only for what you built, not for who you were. He didn't answer, just tipped his hat and disappeared into the darkness. The next day, an unexpected visitor came to the Mercantile. Abigail Peterson, the banker's daughter, now married to a cattle baron from the next county. Mrs. Whitfield, Wilson greeted her warmly. What brings you back to Silver Creek? Just visiting father, she replied, her silk dress rustling as she browsed the merchandise. Her eyes fell on Olivia. You must be the widow Fletcher. I knew your husband slightly. A very proper man. Yes, he was, Olivia replied neutrally. Abigail selected a pair of gloves, then leaned closer to Olivia as Wilson wrapped her purchase. A word of advice, Mrs. Fletcher. Don't waste your time on Ethan O'Malley. The man's incapable of love. Everyone knows it. Olivia maintained her composure. I wasn't aware that was common knowledge. Oh yes, Abigail said with a brittle laugh. Ask anyone. Cold as ice, that one. Some men just aren't made for marriage. After Abigail left, Olivia found herself unable to focus on her work, her mind turning over the woman's words. That evening, she didn't go to the schoolhouse. Instead, she sat in her room rereading Jonathan's letters, searching for clues about the unnamed recipient of his devotion. One letter, dated just a month before their marriage, caught her attention. My dearest love, I am to be married next month. She is a good woman, kind and gentle, and she deserves better than a coward like me. I will be a faithful husband to her, but my heart will always belong to you. These letters will be my secret shrine to what might have been had I found the courage to speak. Forever yours, Jay. Tears filled Olivia's eyes as the truth dawned on her. Jonathan had loved someone else when he married her, someone he had never had the courage to approach. Their marriage had been built on his resignation, not passion. The thought was painful yet somehow liberating. Perhaps she hadn't failed as a wife after all. Perhaps there had never been a chance for true intimacy between them. The next morning, Wilson approached her with concern. Ethan O'Malley was asking after you yesterday evening, said you usually stop by the schoolhouse. I needed some time to think, Olivia replied. Wilson hesitated. Olivia, I've known Ethan for 15 years. He's a good man, but complicated. The towns never understood him. They mock him, call him loveless, emotionless, but they're wrong. I've seen how he looks at you when he thinks no one's watching. Olivia's heart quickened. How does he look at me? Like a man seeing the sun after a lifetime of clouds. Wilson patted her hand. Just be gentle with him. Some hearts break harder than others. That evening, Olivia went to the schoolhouse with renewed purpose. She found O'Malley applying the finishing touches to the trim around a window. I missed you yesterday, he said without turning, surprising her with his directness. I needed to think, she replied, echoing her words to Wilson. O'Malley set down his tools and faced her. And what conclusion did you reach? That I've been reading these letters wrong. I've been trying to discover who Jonathan loved, but the identity of that person isn't what matters. What matters is that he never spoke his truth. She stepped closer to O'Malley. I don't want to make the same mistake. O'Malley's expression remained guarded. What mistake is that? Hiding my feelings out of fear. She took a deep breath. I care for you, Ethan. I enjoy your company, your quiet strength, the way you see the world. I don't know if you could ever return those feelings, but I needed to say the words. For a long moment, O'Malley stood perfectly still, his face unreadable. Then, with deliberate movements, he walked to a wooden chest in the corner of the room and removed a small leather-bound book. He handed it to her without a word. Olivia opened it to find page after page of sketches, detailed drawings of hands working wood, of buildings taking shape, of trees and mountains and streams. And interspersed among them, sketches of her serving customers at the Mercantile, reading on her bench in the schoolhouse, walking through town with her basket. I'm not good with words, O'Malley said quietly. "This is how I speak." Olivia traced a finger over a particularly detailed drawing of herself, her expression thoughtful as she read one of Jonathan's letters. "These are beautiful, Ethan. You're beautiful," he said simply. "I've thought so since the first day I saw you 3 years ago when you arrived in town. Your husband saw me watching you once. I think he understood." Realization dawned on Olivia. "It was me," she whispered. "Jonathan's letters were about me." O'Malley nodded. "I suspected as much when you read them to me, the way he described watching you at the store, the ribbons in your hair. I remembered that day. I was there too, selecting lumber. We both watched you, neither of us with the courage to approach. But he did eventually. Yes, I envied him that courage, small as it was. And now?" Olivia asked, her heart racing. O'Malley reached out slowly, his calloused hand gentle as it covered hers. "Now I find I have courage of my own." The town's gossip reached fever pitch 2 months later when Ethan O'Malley escorted Olivia Fletcher to the autumn social. Whispers followed them across the town square, where tables had been set up and lanterns hung from trees. "Shameless," Mrs. Perkins muttered as they passed. "Never thought I'd see the day O'Malley courted a woman proper," Mr. Davis commented to Sheriff Thompson. Ethan squeezed Olivia's hand as they found seats at an empty table. "Ignore them," he said quietly. "They'll find something new to talk about soon enough." "I don't care what they say," Olivia replied, and she meant it. The opinions of Silver Creek's gossips seemed insignificant compared to the joy she'd found with Ethan. Their courtship had been unconventional but deeply meaningful. Ethan had given her a small wooden box he'd carved himself, inlaid with delicate flowers, to hold Jonathan's letters. "His words deserve a proper home," he'd said, "and so do you." As the evening progressed, Reverend Hughes approached their table. "Mrs. Fletcher, Mr. O'Malley," he greeted them, his expression carefully neutral. "The schoolhouse is coming along splendidly. The town council is most pleased." "It'll be ready before the first snow," Ethan replied. "Excellent, excellent." The Reverend cleared his throat. "Mrs. Fletcher, I wonder if I might have a word in private." Olivia exchanged a glance with Ethan before following the Reverend to a quiet corner of the square. "Mrs. Fletcher, I speak to you not just as your spiritual guide, but as someone concerned for your reputation. Your association with Mr. O'Malley has become the subject of considerable talk." "I'm aware of the gossip, Reverend." "Then you must also be aware that such talk can damage not only your standing in the community, but potentially your livelihood. Mr. Wilson is a good Christian man, but he has customers to consider." Anger flared in Olivia's chest. "Are you suggesting that my friendship with Mr. O'Malley might cost me my position at the Mercantile? I'm merely pointing out that actions have consequences, especially for a woman in your delicate position." "My position is no more delicate than any other widow's," Olivia replied firmly. "And Mr. O'Malley is a respected craftsman whose work will benefit this town for generations. If people choose to gossip rather than appreciate his contribution, that reflects poorly on them, not us." The Reverend's expression hardened. "Pride comes before a fall, Mrs. Fletcher." "As does judgment, Reverend. Good evening." Olivia returned to Ethan, her cheeks flushed with indignation. "The Reverend thinks I should be concerned about my reputation." Ethan's jaw tightened. "We could stop seeing each other." "Is that what you want?" "No," he said firmly. "But I won't be the cause of your suffering." Olivia placed her hand over his. "The only thing that would make me suffer is losing you." Later that night, as Ethan walked Olivia back to the Mercantile, they paused outside the schoolhouse, now nearly complete. The moonlight cast long shadows across the fresh wooden siding. "I've been thinking," Ethan said, his voice low. "The schoolhouse needs a teacher's residence attached. The town council approved the funds last week." "That's wonderful," Olivia replied, though she wasn't sure why he was telling her this now. "I was thinking it should have 2 bedrooms, a parlor, maybe a small garden out back." He turned to face her, his expression serious. "I was thinking it could be our home, Olivia. If you do me the honor of becoming my wife." Joy bloomed in Olivia's chest. "Are you asking me to marry you, Ethan O'Malley?" "I'm asking if you'll build a life with me. It won't be easy. The town will talk. Your reputation, let them talk," she interrupted. "Yes, Ethan, yes, I'll marry you." He pulled her gently into his arms, his kiss tender and reverent. When they parted, he rested his forehead against hers. "I've loved you since the moment I saw you step off that stage 3 years ago," he confessed. "I never thought I'd have the chance to tell you." "Then we have Jonathan to thank," Olivia said softly. "His letters brought us together." "I'll build him a proper marker," Ethan promised. "Something that will last." 3 months later, on a crisp December morning, Olivia Fletcher became Olivia O'Malley in a small ceremony at the newly completed schoolhouse. The town's curiosity had overcome its disapproval, and the building was filled to capacity. Even Reverend Hughes had come around, officiating with genuine warmth after witnessing the depth of feeling between the couple. Ethan had indeed built a proper marker, for Jonathan's grave, a beautifully carved wooden monument that told the story of a man who had loved deeply, if silently. The epitaph, chosen by Olivia from one of Jonathan's letters, reads simply, "Words unspoken still hold truth." As Olivia and Ethan walked down the aisle as husband and wife, she caught sight of Mrs. Perkins dabbing at her eyes, clearly moved despite herself. Sheriff Thompson gave them a wink and a nod of approval, and Mr. Wilson beamed like a proud father. Outside, snow had begun to fall, dusting the new teacher's residence that would be their home. Inside, beneath the floorboards of their bedroom, Olivia had created a special place for Jonathan's letters and Ethan's sketchbooks, a testament to the unspoken love that had, in its way, brought them together. That night, as they lay in each other's arms in their new home, Ethan whispered, "I'm not much for fancy words, but I want you to know I'll spend every day showing you how much I love you." "Some feelings don't need words," Olivia replied, resting her head on his chest. "But I'm glad we both found the courage to speak them anyway." By spring, the town's gossip had found new targets, and the story of the loveless carpenter and the widow had transformed into something of a local legend, a tale of redemption and second chances that mothers told their daughters. When Olivia announced her pregnancy in April, the town celebrated with genuine joy. And when their daughter was born the following November, they named her Faith, a testament to the belief that love, even when hidden beneath floorboards or locked behind silent expressions, would eventually find its way into the light.